Alright guys, we're starting example 2. So we're moving from monomials to polynomials. But guess what, you guys? It's the same process. We just have to do a smidge more work when we have polynomials. Okay, so let's follow the same steps. First, factor the numerator and denominator. And remember, our leading coefficient must be positive. If it's not positive, we have to factor out a -1. So, let's see here. My leading coefficient is negative here. Oh no! Okay, so we must fix that. My denominator is good to go because the leading coefficient is positive. Okay, so let's factor out a -1 in the numerator, which that will leave me with, basically it's going to change all my signs. So, or you can think about it as dividing all three of these by a negative. So a negative divided by a negative is a positive x squared. A positive 2x divided by a negative is a negative 2x. And a positive 3 divided by a -1 is a -3. So again, you guys, when you factor out the -1, just change all the signs in the parentheses. Okay, and this one's good to go still, so I'm just going to write it again. My leading coefficient is not negative in the denominator. Okay, so now we need to factor the numerator in the denominator, which now I'm going to look inside the parenthesis when I factor the numerator. So guys, in the numerator and the denominator, we have 3 terms. So what is the factoring technique we can use when we have 3 terms? Holy hot dog, you guys are so smart. And both of these, we're going to be doing slide and divide. So we're going to slide and divide this thing. Slide and divide. And we're also going to slide and divide the denominator. If I can spell it, divide. Okay, so I'm going to factor the numerator over here, and I'm going to factor the denominator over here. Now, if you already know how to slide and divide, I want you to pause the video, slide and divide, and write what you get over here. That's the next step. So write your factored form in the numerator over here and the denominator over here. And don't forget, you guys, a -1 should be in the very front. Okay, so we're going to get something over here like this after we factor. And then the denominator will be something like this. So let's see what happens. Which you can write negative or -1. I don't care. Either way. Alright, so let's start sliding and dividing. Let's start with our numerator. Alright, so our numerator is x squared minus 2x minus 3. Alright guys, let's start by sliding our a to our c, which the a, remember, is the number in front of the x squared. And let's see here, I'm going to go ahead and label what the a, b, and c are because that helps. So my a is the number in front of x squared, which there's secret little one hiding out. B is the number in front of x, which is a -2. And my c is the number without x, which is a -3. Alright guys, let's do this thing. We start by sliding a to c. Okay, so slide a to c, and we're going to multiply. So 1 times -3 is -3. So our AC, so this is our slide, is -3. Now remember, you guys, that our final answer, so way down here, and our final answer, we're going to have x's in each of our parentheses. And don't forget, this is slide and divide. Whatever you slide by, you divide by. So since we slid over a, we slide a, so that means we divide by a. So eventually, I'm going to be dividing by our a value, which is 1. So I'm just going to keep that ready so I don't forget about it. Okay, so remember our slide, we need two numbers that multiply to be AC and 2 numbers that add to be B, which my B is -2. So, let's think. I need 2 numbers that multiply to be -3 and add to be -2. You guys are too cool for school. You guys already knew. It's -3 and +1. Alright, so I'm going to put my -3 and my +1 in my parentheses. So -3 or -3 and my +1 or +1. Alright guys, and the last step is to simplify. So this is going to be x minus 3 divided by 1 is 3 and 1 divided by 1 is 1. So my numerator is going to be x minus 1, or sorry, x minus 3 and x plus 1. So I'm just going to slide these factors over there. So we have x minus 3 and x plus 1. Awesome. Alright, so we're going to slide and divide the denominator, which again, if you feel like you get slide and divide, go ahead and pause the video and slide and divide the denominator and write what you get right there. All right, guys, let's start sliding and dividing. Let's go. Okay, so we have x squared plus 5x plus 4. All right, let's label our a, b, and c. A is the number in front of x squared, which I don't see anything, so there's secretly a 1. B is the number in front of the x, which the number in front of the x is 5. And my c is the 4 on the end. All right, so we slide our a to our c, so we're sliding a to c. So 1 times 4 is 4. Sorry, brain fart. So our AC, or our slide, is 4. And don't forget, you guys, in our final answer, okay, we are going to have x's in each of our parentheses, and we're going to divide by what we slide. So we slide a, which means we divide by a. So I'm going to divide by 1, which is my a value. So you slide a, and then you divide by a, so don't forget. Okay, so I need two numbers that multiply to be AC and add to be B, which are B values 5. So two numbers that multiply to be 4 and add to be 5. You guys are so smart. Holy hot dog, you guys. It is 4 and 1. All right, so this is a positive 4. So in here, I'm going to put plus 4. And that's a positive 1. So in here, I'm going to put plus 1. All right, guys, and the final step to factor this thing is to simplify or divide. So 4 divided by 1 is 4, so this is x plus 4. And 1 divided by 1 is 1. All right, so these are the numbers that go in here. So I'm going to write x plus 4 and x plus 1. All right, so we have factored the numerator and the denominator. And remember, we factored out that negative, so don't forget about it. Okay, so we factored the numerator and denominator, and we made sure our leading coefficient was positive. Now it says determine where the rational expression is undefined. So just like we did up here, we're going to set every single factor in the denominator not equal to 0. So that means none of the factors will go to 0. Because if one of these factors is 0, 0 times anything is 0. So that's not allowed. Okay, so we're going to say, let's see here. We're going to say x plus 4, and this is the denominator. You do this in the denominator. So I look at my factors in the denominator, which are these two. Okay, so I'm going to say x plus 4 cannot equal 0, and x plus 1 cannot equal 0. If any of those are 0, they will multiply to be 0, which is not allowed. Okay, so I'm going to solve these equations for x. To bring positive 4 to the other side, we're going to subtract that thing on both sides, which 4 minus 4 is 0, cancels out. And 0 minus 4 is negative 4. Okay, so the first thing, x cannot be negative 4. And let's solve over here. To bring 1 to the other side, the opposite of positive 1 is negative 1. And 1 minus 1 cancels out, turns to 0. 0 minus 1 is negative 1. So x cannot be negative 1. Okay, so these are the values, you guys, that will make the denominator 0. If x is negative 4 plus 4 is 0. And if x is negative 1 plus 1 is 0. And that's not allowed, but we saved it, so no kittens will be dying. X can never be negative 4 or negative 1. Okay, you guys, so our final step. We need to divide out any like terms in the numerator or denominator. So we're looking for things that are alike. And if we see anything alike, I can cross them out. So let's see. Any factors in the numerator and denominator that are the same? These aren't the same. But look here, I got 2x plus 1. So x plus 1 divided by x plus 1 cancels out and turns to 1. So guys, what I'm left with is all this right here. So this would be my final answer. So my simplified form is negative 1 times x minus 3 all over x plus 4. And guys, I will not make you distribute that back out. Once you factor it, you don't ever have to deal with it ever again. Wasn't that exciting, you guys? I love factoring and simplifying rational expressions.